And I think too that, right, as the leader, you should have some kind of reward for being the leader of the race on a restart.
Of course.
And I think that's a pretty reasonable reward.
Stand and wave and make some noise. It is
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk with your three stones, two of your three stones pit crew.
Yep.
Yeah. Episode 140. I'm your tire changer Cam.
Jack Mankel.
And we've got another jam-packed episode here for you today. Only got a little bit of news today, but we're going to talk a ton of racing. We're going to talk a little bit of the Live for Five Larry Detjens Memorial from Dell's Raceway Park. We'll touch a little bit on Iowa, and then we'll touch on the North-South 100 for Lucas Oil. As always, we'll crown a Wheelman of the Week, look ahead, and yeah, go from there then. So, uh, what's been going on since we last reconvened with each other?
Um, been quiet, I think is the best way to say it. We it's hot here again. I'm not enjoying that the most, but you had to know it was gonna get hot again in August. So it warmed up, but no, I just it's you look at the race schedule and it gets a little smaller each week, but
Yeah.
checks seem to get bigger and the racing seems as important as ever.
Elbows
Um,
up, more elbows
yeah.
up.
So, yeah, it's kind of that we're kind of starting to peek into that special season when you look ahead to as crazy as you say it, right? Like Labor Day's around the corner.
Oh
And
yeah.
when you get to that point, it's the fall. And then, especially for up here, for us up here in the north, racing season shortens up quickly when you get to Labor Day.
Well, and I think too that right, we'll talk about it maybe once we get to the Iowa part, but Chase is coming up for uh Cup Series,
Yeah, they have not even a handful of races left yet.
which that means we're getting close to points situations.
Yep.
So, um, I mean, other than that, I was able to get to obviously one of the races we're going to talk about here this weekend. To the point of your weather, and this will be about the only weather point I talk about. I have not had to turn my AC on in a week.
Oh, I actually just tonight fired mine up. I don't know.
It stays nice and cool in here, cool enough.
That's perfect.
So,
Easy on the
um, what's that?
easy on the checkbook.
Oh, absolutely. More racing money.
I know
Um,
the hard part is like our the way our apartment is set up, when the sun sets, it shines into the bedroom. So the
oh
blinds are
yeah,
always closed. So you get ready to lay down at night. It's just a little extra warm, so that's kind of the hard part. But
yeah, yeah.
we make do.
Otherwise I couldn't stay up for the Capitani Classic last night. That was just gonna
Yeah.
run too late for my schedule at least, but another
Yeah.
barn burner by the looks of it for that one. So
Yeah.
um otherwise you wanna dive into the news topics for the week?
Yeah. We only got six little tidbits here, so it'll go pretty quick. In O'Reilly's news being the first two, William Swallow inks a 1 year deal to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing, um, to drive that 18. And then in an expansion, Dean Thompson is going to go ahead and jump over to the Haas factory team. That'll be their third car for that organization in 2027. So, he'll be jumping over to the Chevy camp. And then the last little bit, SVG getting back truck racing in the Spire 7 at Richmond. So thinking ahead, track time and points, as you just alluded to.
Yeah.
He's going to try to get himself a little additional track time with Spire in the trucks.
And I think that Sawalich one is a product of some comments that Hamlin made,
Yeah.
if I had to venture to guess.
Yep.
So, speaking of drivers with teams, Andretti Global and IndyCar announced that Marcus Ericsson will return to the team in 2027. So that lineup has been confirmed to be Marcus Ericsson, Kyle Kirkwood, and Will Power for 2027. And in some sprint car news here, this one was a big one, especially on the high limit side. Chase Briscoe has acquired the Brett Marks Racing charter in its first couple of years of that system. But it keeps Brett Marks as the driver and I believe general manager of that team
Yep.
under the Chase Briscoe Racing banner. So,
Yeah, Briscoe Marks, however you want to say it, will that will be the franchise for the high limit deals we start to talk about finishing the top eight in points and all that great stuff. So
yep.
Briscoe is going to be it's the long and the short of it. It's the same operation with a different name.
I, I I coined this to be a lot of like the Rico Abreu and Tony Stewart Racing deal.
100%. That's exactly it. So
Yep. So, and then other sprint car news. This is coming out of the Capitani Classic Sunday night. Was announced on Monday morning or Monday afternoon. Anthony Macri has been sidelined again after his wreck at Knoxville with a broken clavicle. I know how that feels, and a bruised lung.
yeah,
So, dude can't catch a break. But I mean, thank God that was all it was. That
eh,
wreck was brutal.
that was ugly to watch. Very ugly to watch. So luckily, that was just all it was. You don't
Yeah.
want that to be the case, but watching the video could have been a whole hell of a lot worse.
I saw a comment from Master Gassers of he said Anthony Macri and Brady Bacon, men of steel. Well, not necessarily steel, but just tough as nails.
Oh yeah, that was a brutal wreck.
Yeah. Yeah. But and Mac or Brady talked about it like going into one, and this is going to happen during the Nationals here coming up as well. Going into one, you got to get it. Otherwise, there's so many good drivers there that otherwise you're gonna be in trouble.
Yep.
So cool. Well, otherwise, that's all we got for the news here. Diving into some racing. First, we'll talk about the Detjens, the Larry Detjens Memorial at uh Dell's Raceway Park. I didn't realize this was the 43rd edition of this race.
It's also weird to say the Larry Detjens and not go State Park Speedway.
Correct.
So I mean, I really like that they've gravitated and really embraced that event now that State Park is defunct, in that they kept that event alive.
Yes.
But it is, it's we're only the third year out of it, so it is a little weird to go Larry Deachens and you always think in State Park Speedway, the state park in the background with the
Yeah.
hill, and so it's different. But I am glad, right? Like when you look at Jerry Obby is doing a great job at the Dells, and that keeping that event alive has been is cool to see.
Yep. Before we dive into the race itself, kind of hitting on that topic, I got to talk to Ryan Farrell a little bit after the race. He said he didn't realize how much this race meant to other people until he actually had a conversation with some people about it, and the crowd showed up on Saturday night.
The crowd was insane.
That was a very good crowd. Not quite a Sauter crowd,
Yep.
but that was a hell of a crowd on Saturday night.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, um, yeah, so diving into this one, it took a couple of restarts or a couple of laps to get going here. There was a couple of quick cautions in the first bit of the race. But Sargent, man, Randy Sargent just pounded the wall in turn two.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a hell of a hit.
that's I I hate to say it, but I don't think there's much of one or two that hasn't had a car just absolutely pound that wall.
Yeah.
So it was good to see him get out. He was obviously not happy, um,
Yep.
but he was able to get out under his own power. And right, you can fix cars, but you can't fix people.
Correct. Yep,
So
for sure.
classic one there. After that caution, which I think was at about 104 to go, I want to say, we went on a pretty long green flag run there. I think we went just
Yeah.
about 100 laps under green flag racing, which, right, we've seen it a couple times now with the Alive for Five at the Dells. Classic Midwest racing, right? You get those long green flag runs. Everybody's pretty respectful, using the bumpers when you when you need to, but not spinning anybody, which was good. So, but with those long green flag runs, obviously you're going to get into lap traffic, and you bring in the mayhem of trying to get around some of them, right? Some of them they're just one car, easy to get around. There were some instances where you got into a group of six.
Yeah.
So,
The hard part
uh,
is they're also racing for position too. So it just,
correct. I will
yeah.
I will give credit where credit is due. And Blake Brown gave credit to Andy Jones on Facebook.
Yep.
Andy Jones did a phenomenal job when, let's see, this would have been Swanson and Johnson were racing for the lead. They were
Yep.
coming out of two and they were side by side. I mean, they were right on Jones' bumper. He immediately went down and he slew down and he let them two go by side by side.
Yep. That's the whole. Again, we've listened to enough drivers meetings. So when it's not your day, it's not your day, right? Like
Yep,
you miss it, something ain't right. It is what it is. But that's it's the adage of this one's bigger than me, right? Like at the end of the day, he's still racing for position.
100%.
He's on the track. He's on the track to score a finish, and he's
And
racing.
ultimately,
But
think for him, just seat time too.
yep, and to just that. I mean, that was the white flag. He just waved it and said, "Good enough. Go ahead, boys. Have at her."
Yep.
So yeah, that was credit where credit's due. Absolutely.
There are some others where that didn't happen. I'm going to leave them anonymous, but for those that were there are going to know who it was.
Yep.
Um, I mean, you could not have raced leader harder for trying not to go a lap down. I mean, he took him three wide, took
Yeah.
him, the leader that they were side by side at the time, and then came up on another car and went three wide.
Yep.
So I just,
Risky business,
brother,
I'd say.
brother,
You could be the highlight reel for the wrong reason.
exactly. So, but you know what? That it is racing, right? You got to deal with lappers. Some are better than other. Again, I give credit to Andy Jones. Like
Yep.
that's a perfect example. Again, right? It's not your day. It's not your day. But he learns, right? He gets to keep that car going, stay behind him for a little bit, learn a couple of things.
100%.
So good for him. Um, Ultimately, though, it was kind of a two-car show for most of that race. Once it ended up getting kind of singled out and drawn out, Casey Johnson ends up getting into second after a couple of restarts. Him and Swanson were going at it. I tell you what, Swanson, really good car. Also, a very funny moment with Johnson in uh, pre-race ceremonies after he rolled the dice, the invert dice. It was so Johnson rolled the die, rolled right a three. They still had
Yep.
the qualifying up on the scoreboard, so he turns around. I just put that 91 car on the front row, didn't I?
Yep, you did send that in the group chat. Yep. And that's when you just go, oh shit.
And you just heard everybody in the crowd just go, "Oh boy."
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Um, Majeski and Swanson though, when Swanson was able to get up front, they raced hard. I will give them that. There was a little bit of door banging. Majeski almost got himself wrecked, or Swanson almost got themselves wrecked. Right? They were both door banging. It was I would consider it a racing incident. Um,
Yep.
Kind of had some flashbacks of Slinger
Yep.
a little bit. Uh,
Yep.
but Majeski was able to hold on to it. Just never really got back into it. He ended up sliding to fifth, fourth.
Finished fifth. He finished fifth, I believe.
So I think he slid back to fourth, was kind of hung around there and just kind of stuck around.
Yeah,
Just
and I think
didn't have, that high expectation that they had.
this, and I think I've had this thought now the last couple of races, kind of watching how the 91 camp has been, right? Like we talk about it up here that the 91 is always the car that when you show up, you're going to have to go through him to get him.
Yep.
The hard part is the run he's had the last 3 or 4 years with the number of races he's won consecutively in terms of event to event, year to year, and the big crown jewels that he just goes and snags. Like people do forget how hard it is to win one single event. Like
Oh yeah.
you can't just pick up and show up and say, all right, let's just go get it. Like it ain't that easy. So to see them kind of by their standards struggle, right?
Yep.
But to finish, there's a lot of guys would be happy to finish fifth. But the hard part is we've talked about it. Oh, it's the 91, but like to go out and just pick single events and say, oh, we're just going to go win this one. People forget that that's just not the case, and I think this is kind of starting to show a little bit that like it's harder to do than to just show up, and we've gotten to witness him do that time and time again. So that just makes it that much more special, you know.
And I think that's a credit to, and we've talked about this hundreds of times, and we'll talk about it 100 of times again. It's a credit to the strength of the field that we've
Mm-hmm.
got up here, right?
100%.
It's the classic. You look at how many guys are on that list, and it's like, yep, I can make a case for him to win. I can make a case for him to win. It's just,
100%.
I mean, when Casey Johnson, right? Casey Johnson and Gabe Summers don't have a win in the Midwest Tour right now. Like,
Correct.
plain and simple.
And those are two guys that are going to be racing for a championship here
It,
come Oktoberfest.
three of your top four have not won a Midwest Tour race this year.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
So it's just a credit to the strength field. I could go into a much deeper depths with that, with the NASCAR regional series and the point standings with that, but that's maybe a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'll tell you afterwards because there's something interesting with that. Um, but anyway, so another thing that we got to see out of this one too, new restart procedure for at least for Live 5 races. I don't know if they've been doing this for the late models on their weekly basis, but at least for the Live for 5, uh, it's not necessarily called that up here, but it is essentially the Delaware double file with the choose option.
Yeah, it'd be your for your dirt late model people. It's going to be your Delaware double file. The leader's on the front row by himself, and then from second on back, everyone gets to pick.
Yep.
So, I, yeah, that's what we. That's the some of us that follow dirt late model stuff. That's what we know it as is the Delaware double file. So it's kind of the term we'll give it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I think it helped clean a few things up a little bit there. It's only the first time, so it's easy to say, well, yeah, we're batting 100%, but
Right. And I think it did
your
good. And
quantity
right,
is
it's
one or two, so we'll see.
yeah, but and I think too that right as the leader, you should have some kind of reward for being the leader of the race on a restart.
Of course,
And I think that's a pretty reasonable reward.
yeah, put you on the front row by yourself.
Yep,
So
plain and simple.
yeah, it'll just be interesting to see, and we might find out, we might not. I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see kind of what shakes out with that second row if guys kind of start to push the envelope a little bit there of hanging back or trying to jump it and kind of see what they can get away with, right? You know,
Yep,
drivers, it's kind of their job to a certain degree to push the envelope a little bit, but
correct.
it'll be interesting to see kind of what comes of that second
Yep.
row. I'll
And
use
I think from a lot of our perspective, I hope we don't have to find out.
correct. The
So,
idea of going to this was to eliminate that whole conversation in itself.
correct. So running through the top 10 here, which I'll bring a couple storylines with that as well. So Casey Johnson with four to go after Stormy broke, which man, again, another guy that just can't catch a break. Um,
Yep.
Holds off Tristan Swanson on the last restart, ends up winning that one. Um, with Swanson again finishing second. Max Kaler was third. Gabe Sommers 16-4 for him to finish fourth, salvage his points for the Alive for 5.
Yep.
Ty Majeski fifth, Luke Fenthouse sixth, Austin Nason seventh, 12th and 15th respectively. Ryan Farrell doesn't have to replace a nose this week. Finishes
Yep.
eighth. Jevin Goralski ninth, and Jordan Thiel rounds out top 10.
Yep.
So I I think a classic Midwest race, right? Always Dell's always puts on a good race. Um, Gonna be interesting as here is that was the fourth race. We're down to the following for championship of that one.
Yeah, Casey Johnson, your point leader by 17. So Fenhouse to be second. Summers is third, 37 back. So
I think that's essentially your championship battle. It's those
Those
three.
first two, yep, or those first three, yeah. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, we shall see.
Yep. So, all right. Anything else before we jump over to Iowa?
No, that's a good little brush up or testing tune for guys that don't run there too often for the solder coming up Labor Day weekend.
Which, how convenient with the new ASA testing rules.
Yeah,
I heard an interesting comment on that I'll again I'll kind of mention off after the podcast on this one.
sounds good. Cup Series in Iowa.
Yeah, so first off, this was the first race with the modified stage brakes. Didn't need to use them
Yep,
in this instance, but right, it's there if we need to.
yep,
Eric Jones, man,
yeah. Gave the guy a little credit last week, and then he gets jinxed. So that's par for the course for us again,
yeah.
per usual.
Again, none of his own doing.
No, qualified well, has shown speed, was going to have a good day, I think. Knowing his point situation, he's on that bubble, right, of having
Yep.
to put together whole days and score stage points. So that took all of but 3 laps to terminate that entire process.
Man, what a absolute turn of a season it's been for Reddick.
Oh, buddy.
Like, it's another scenario. What's a guy got to do?
Correct.
Like, thank God he had the points that he did at the beginning of the year because it sure ain't turning out right now.
Yeah, he went from having 100 and some point lead to he's now fourth in the points, 120 back of Hamlin, who's now 103 up on Gibbs.
Yep. So
So just what a turn. There's 3 races remaining in that schedule.
yeah,
So I should say in the regular season. Sorry.
correct. Yep. So again, right, and since we're in that points discussion here, there's still a lot up for grabs. I think Hamlin's getting pretty close to wrapping up the regular season championship.
Yeah, I think
Um,
he has a good week here next week. I think that could pretty well Saturday night. Oh, yeah, it's Saturday night race. Yeah. He puts
Saturday
together
night under the lights.
he puts together a good Richmond race, and that could very well wrap that
Yeah.
up. And
Yep. But now
we
you're looking
know
at obviously
we
it's all
know.
about the bubble, right?
Yep,
Um, at Cendric and SVG, I would still maybe throw Bubba into that conversation of kind of, all right, we gotta watch ourselves here a little bit. Priest is knocking at the door,
yep,
20 some point lead over or 20 some points out of the
yep.
bubble. Chastain another 20, so you're talking 40. Um, Keselowski in that same boat, but now, like Jones said it, he couldn't afford to have a bad week, and he had a bad week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that really puts him in a tough spot. He's 50, exactly 50 out.
Yeah.
And in your perfect race is 76.
70, yes, 76, I believe.
So yeah, even a perfect race, like that's without other guys scoring a single point makes it really tough. So
Yeah.
you hate that because he was really starting to turn things around and we just talked about last week a little bit of him. Just starting to put together weeks and they're starting to qualify well and you can
Yep.
start to see them figuring it out. So it's just a bummer that it's too late, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, I mean, really, the only other big takeaway I have is the Toyotas were pretty good.
Yeah.
Hamlin did what a veteran does with all the brake issues and had a pedal, and then it was long, and they changed the brakes before the race and all that stuff. But that's just Denny managing that car and bringing it home in one piece, knowing that the picture is bigger than that day.
I think I think I saw some comments too that he's never been so down going into a race,
Yep,
especially this year,
yep,
and he realized that he cannot do that the rest of the year.
correct. So yeah, just Point Race and Day just managed everything, did a good job, just keeping himself out of trouble.
Yep.
Um, in that, and then I think the other kind of the counterpart of that, and let's go the other way, is Hendrick is historically bad right now.
It's odd to say historically when it's only three races with a car not in the top 10,
Correct.
which I'm questioning because I got William Byron ninth here.
Um,
We're both double checking here now.
but either way, it
Oh,
just it,
I wonder if it was multiple cars in the top 10.
I'm thinking so. I'm clicking on that as we speak here. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Anyhow,
that's not right.
yep. But anyhow, just it's not the typical Hendrick of putting two cars in the top five or leading a bunch of laps and missing on a strategy, right? Like it's not the Hendrick that we've known
Correct.
in the last couple of years. And I think that's the hard part. Is it's just we're yeah, it's just they're historically struggling right now.
Yep. Yep. And right, I'm a big believer in you got to get hot at the right time. And we're getting into that time where you need to be hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean it's
right?
that's that's true. They're also struggling at the wrong time.
Correct.
But when you talk about the point standings, their highest guy is surprisingly Chase Elliott seventh,
Yep. But I think it's
Kyle Larson
also
10th, and Byron's 11th.
they have such a high expectation that right, you don't want to dial back because then you're settling for subpar, I
100%,
guess.
absolutely, 100%.
But you got to give yourself a chance to hit some lower goals in order to get back to where you expect to be.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't picture William Byron and Kyle Larson being 10th and 11th in points with the likes of Hocevar and Busher ahead of both of them.
I can tell you this: if you ask the question right now, is do I have Hendrick as a favorite to win the championship? I'm telling you, no.
I would agree.
Like,
I get it, it resets, but it just unless next week they show up and put 3 or 4 in the top 10 and they lead a bunch of laps, score a bunch of points, I just
and in such a in a world right now, in a system right now where consistency is key.
consistency is rewarded. Absolutely.
Correct. That's I'm not seeing it.
No, it's yeah, they're kind of in that boat right now of like when you're looking at fantasy lineups, you kind of can't
I don't
trust them.
trust it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy to say that. You used to look at those first 26 races and go, "Oh my God, I got to manage those four because you could burn them up right away and be really
Yep.
good." But yeah, they're just in a spot right now. You kind of can't trust them.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just leads me to believe that there's more there than just the body problem, right? Like I
Correct.
find it hard to believe that they'd go this long with being Chevy's boy that they're not figuring something out. Like that's the concern, right?
Correct.
So, but who knows? I guess it's the old adage, time will tell. There's only
Time
one
will
way to find
tell.
out, and that's when cars hit the racetrack.
When
So,
Spire Motorsports and Trackhouse Racing have as many wins as the Hendrick organization does,
yeah, correct. That's yeah. So
not to hate say case in point, but I mean the numbers are the numbers.
that numbers don't lie.
So, other Iowa takeaways though, I mean, otherwise, like I saw a comment that it wasn't necessarily a bad race, it was just a bad car. And right, we've had these aero discussions and lack of passing with them and this, that, and the other. Right? Was Gibbs able to utilize maybe a little bit of aero block, quote unquote, to hold his
Yep.
position? Sure. But that's the name of the game. That's how he's had to learn, or all these guys have learned. All right, I could use this as an advantage to not lose a spot.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see because obviously the repave is going to be the conversation. I'd be curious to see kind of how that all shakes out next year.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I mean, otherwise, outside of that, pretty procedural race. The
Yeah.
other big scuff up we had was Bowman and Larson and that four wide debacle.
Yep.
I mean, again, otherwise, Holsvar had his problems, but otherwise, again, just pretty procedural from there.
Yeah.
So, um, top 10 out of that one. So Ty Gibbs gets the second win of the season. Christopher Bell, hard fought second, his seventh runner up on the year. Um, Ryan Blaney finishes third. Josh Berry, solid fourth place run for him. Hamlin a salvaged fifth. Briscoe, solid sixth. Chastain, a needed seventh. Dinger, eighth place for him. Byron, ninth. And Austin Dillon finishes top 10 with him going to probably his best track coming up.
Yep. Absolutely.
But I think at this point, let me just check something here. Pretty much out of contention for the chase. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, I would venture to say the same,
So,
unfortunately.
yeah. Otherwise, any other comments on Iowa here?
No, I thought it was a pretty decent race, to be
Yeah.
honest. Didn't set the world on fire by any means, but was just kind of a good short track race, to be honest,
Yep.
shorter track race. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of where I sit on it.
Um, I'm gonna let you talk about this next one mainly because I'm assuming you got to obviously watch this more than I did. The only comment that I've got before I let you go with it, man, did we wreck some stuff this weekend.
Yeah, and it was Dan Ebert was kind of the I don't want to say the cause of it. He was that was the car that broke.
I was even
Um,
gonna say like the two previous nights and then the prelims before that where we had a car leave the ground every night.
yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, Dylan McCown left the park into the pickers. Yeah, I mean, kind of rough on equipment and just kind of weird flips, kind of weird tangle ups. It was just,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. But yeah, I think the big one is obviously everyone looks at the picture from the wreck when Eber broke, and it's just the front stretch was a parking lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I saw Mikey Marler's comment on it. He was obviously one that was caught up in it, and he just said, right, like that's racing. He goes, you put 900 horsepower in a little steel, and you try to go run wide open. He goes, stuff's gonna break. It is what it is, right? Like, um, obviously Ebert, the fastest lap of the race, had led some laps.
Yep.
Again, showing that he's the dude's gonna get one here soon. He's not a guy that you would tag as someone to go out and wreck the field. Let's
Yep.
just be honest.
Nope.
So it just you hate to see it because the likes of Marler and Sheppy and Bobby Pierce and Max Blair, I mean, it just collected a whole bunch of the field. Devin Moran was kind of a part of that. So there were just a lot of guys that were in scramble mode to try to get themselves just back on the racetrack.
Yep.
But I mean, really, Kyle Bronson was another guy that kind of really finally showed a little speed for the first time of the year. Got up there, led some laps. He duked it out with JD for a while. JD kind of got collected in a little bit of a spin. He had to go to the tail. He knew he was good. Found his way back to the front. Same with Rice. He had some issues and some tires, and um, they were worried about some suspension pieces. And again, found his way back to the front. Um, I just think this might be potentially labeled one of the craziest races of the year, with guys going front to back to back to front to half the field getting wrecked to it just storylines were everywhere. It was just you couldn't look away. So
Yeah.
ultimately I think the finish of that race, the last two laps with the slide jobs that JD and Josh Rice threw at each other, it was really hard racing to a clean tee, right? Like giving each other room, sliding up, checking up, driving under. It was just clean, really hard, big slider dirt late model racing. So, um, if you haven't seen the last two laps, go find them on YouTube. They are so good to watch. But technically, Josh Rice led the last two laps because he slid JD in four and he led at the stripe, but JD slid him in one and two, kind of led down the backstretch, and then Rice slid JD back into four and ended up winning the race. So, um, yeah, it's just I think a part of that too is Josh Rice now back in a rocket.
Yep.
Again, we're talking about rockets.
They're
They're
I
rockets
think
right now.
there is no are they back? It is they are back and they are here to
100%.
race.
100%. So he's traditionally had rockets. The whole JR deal, they went to Longhorns. And I think, first weekend out in a rocket, why not cash a $75,000 check?
Yeah.
So, no, just chaos, calamity, storylines. It was all a part of the North South 100. So, yeah, if you haven't seen the last two laps, go check them out. They're
Yeah.
incredible to watch. But let me pull up. I'll give you the finishing order. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of storylines, and then they go from there, and then they go ahead and head down to Batesville for
Top plus 100.
the topless. It's always so weird to watch that.
Oh yeah.
Just with you can see the driver. It's always
Just a
interesting.
little pot that's just kind of there.
Yep. Run you through your top 10 real quick. Josh Rice, JD, Luke Morey finds his way to third. Devin Moran fourth, Brandon Overton fifth, Dell and Murdy sixth, Clay Harris seventh, Carson Ferguson eighth, Ryan Shirley ninth, and Kyle Bronson rounds out your top 10. So, kind of the only one other storyline more so off the track for this one is going to be this guy right here. Um, Garrett Albertson got hit in the eye through the helmet with something, had a big laceration above his eye. They actually took him to a trauma center and got him checked out and kind of situated in terms of he got hit in the face with something. So, on the racetrack. So, they made a post today. He's doing it right. And then it's just cool to see like Paylor Motorsports and Carson Ferguson and his crew were kind of helping Albersons get the merch trailer cleaned up and situated in just kind of the different crews that were
Mhm.
helping them out. So good to see him be all right. It's just going to be a little bit of a see where they're at in terms of kind of where he's at with his recovery from that. So
Yep.
kind of the one bummer coming out of that, but yeah, North South 100 probably at the moment one of the craziest races of the year is the way I'll describe it. So,
All right. We've got it in our race of the year contenders. So we'll definitely maybe circle back to that one at the end of the year.
yeah, that list is going to be a problem because it just keeps getting
Yeah.
bigger by the week, and you're where you got to try to get it. I don't know how we're ever going to get that to
This is
one.
a good problem to have
Correct. We might have to. Yeah, it might be a by race car category, maybe.
by discipline. Yeah.
Yep, discipline. I would say. Yep,
Yeah.
we might have to do it that way because the list is just insane.
It's gonna be like figuring out criteria for our wheelman of the week
Yeah,
award because it seems like we changed that by the week.
yeah, it's a moving target. So,
I'll just rattle through. Speaking of our 26 wheelman of the week contenders here, I'll just rattle through them and then we'll kind of debate from there.
yep,
So starting off with the aforementioned Josh Rice winning the North South 100, an absolute banger of a race with last lap pass on Jonathan Davenport. The other aforementioned Casey Johnson surviving late restart to win the Larry Detjens Memorial for the Live 5 race at Dells. Dylan Thornton holds off Jason Fager to get his first Mars late model win at McCon. And Ty Gibbs holds off Christopher Bell late race charge for second win of the season, putting on a decent blocking clinic in the process. So
yep.
again, another great group of guys here. I've
So,
I've got two for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think when I look at the list, I think about it. Right, Ty Gibbs is a guy that he's in the best of the best at Toyota. You should expect that to a certain degree.
Yeah.
He should be in contention quite a bit.
Yep.
Um, Now, manage the tire strategy was pretty solid, and I can appreciate that. Dylan Thornton gets it done at Macon. It's tough to hold off Fager. I mean, I'm really between Johnson winning the Alive for five and Josh Rice at the North South.
I would say I'm on that boat as well. And if I have to give you my one,
Yep,
I think I'd have to go with Rice, just with at least from what you're telling me for what that race was like, seeing
yep.
social media comments, Johnson just doing Johnson things in the Alive for Five is pretty common, but Josh Rice beating the competitors that he did in the process, I think I would have to give it to Rice.
I can go with that as well. I mean, let's be honest. The dude held off JD.
And he's a guy that he's been coming on of recent. Like obviously we all know what he did um at the was it the World or the Dream a couple years ago?
It'd been the dream last year. It'd been 2025 dream, winning a prelim, leading laps.
Yep. Like
Um,
he's kind of starting to get himself out there a little bit.
yep. He is our eighth dirt late model winner of the year of this. So the dirt late model guys are winning this at nearly one in every three clip, 8 for 26. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's the target kind of moves on this a little
Yeah,
bit
a little
week to
bit.
week.
Little bit.
But yeah. Um yeah, Josh Rice, 26th wheelman of the week in the 11. So
Yep.
let's go ahead and talk
Look ahead a
schedules.
little bit.
Yep, let's just talk schedules. Race picks are going to be a little abbreviated just because our missing man has the first pick. So we're waiting. The group chat has a message, but we are waiting to see what the scoop is there. So, what do you got on your radar for the upcoming week?
I for me, I mean, I'm gonna put just one and simple one here. Knoxville Nationals.
Yep,
The prestigious, most prestigious sprint car race on the year, 4 day racing. Like that's I made it a purpose to stay home this weekend just to watch the Knoxville Nationals. And it
yep,
kind of worked out with how some other things happened on the schedule.
yep.
But if that is my one, like that's what I'm here for this weekend.
Yeah, I think the two that I kind of have my eye on, the Midwest Truckers back in action. They make the haul down to Grundy. Brian Reichenberger is your 2025 winner of that event, so I'm sure he's excited to get back down there and continue his.
They raced out of there just as fast as they raced on the track last year. That was they raced a storm for that one.
Correct. So the Midwest Truckers head to Grundy for the Windy City Showdown. The other one I'm keeping on, I'll watch the topless.
It's
It's
unique.
one. Yeah, it's unique, right? You look in there and you can see JD always has a bright orange helmet. You're just watching and you can see him in their work, and it's a little bit of a unique perspective. So, um, all of those schedules are out on our social media already.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So if you're looking for something, take a look onto there.
yeah, that gives you everything from dates to tracks to streaming services to the whole deal. So, if you're looking for details on that, that is your place to go. Usually Monday, sometime between 8 and noon, those get pushed out for the most part. Some are on Sunday, but they are all out and available for viewing.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned, we're missing one of our men for the race pick, and coincidentally enough, he's the first pick
That,
uh
yeah, it's kind of
week.
holding the show up a little bit on us.
Yeah. I can at least recap what we did last week. I gained a little bit on Cam,
Yep,
and then you're just kind of yeah.
it's kind of there.
You need a
I'm,
reset is what you need.
yeah, I'm participating at this point. Honestly, I'm participating.
Yeah.
I'm here to win 1 week, and just because I don't even really have a chance at the title.
You're not. You're literally just here to win races because that's as much as you're gonna get.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just trying to honestly, I'm trying to guys that you want to make it interesting. I'm looking at trends and going, who are you guys going to pick? And I'll just pick them ahead of you.
Who can
Give
I
you,
screw over today?
yeah, every other week I'll just pick somebody for one of the other two you guys. But
You're making this points battle interesting is what you're trying to do.
I sure am.
Trying to influence. Fair enough. Cool. Well, any other final thoughts here before we sign off for the evening?
No, I don't. I don't have any really. We just kind of talked about it before we hit the record button. It's just, the schedule kind of gets one line or two lines smaller every week. But we're starting to get to like that special season.
Yeah.
If you're in the north, you're kind of starting to look and go. Labor Day is a couple of weeks away, and by then it's big money shows and races, and then it's October and it's all over. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's just we were just kind of talking about that a little bit before we got started.
Yep. With that, right, get out to your short tracks. It's big race season. A lot of specials going on. Help support them. Showing up at the racetrack makes drivers show up to the racetrack as well.
No,
And then as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit up all of our socials, check out our schedules. And then as always, we'll see you on next week's episode of the Tuesday Track Talk.